Hey all, so today I thought I'd make a quick video about ThinkorSwim swim settings. That's the software I use, so it's the one I'm most familiar with. I'm not professing that you should be using ThinkorSwim. Make it your choice, but for those that are using it, maybe you can find this helpful. First, Labor Day 2025, happy day. I hope you're enjoying it with your family. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is see how much RAM is installed in your system. And for most Windows systems, you're just going to go click on Start, System, on Settings, System, and then About. And you scroll all the way down to see the About, and you can see the installed RAM. I've removed everything else around here to make sure that you guys can focus in. I have 64 gigs of RAM enabled. It does help. 32 gig, I would say, is the minimum, but 64 gig did help me increase performance and defeat some lag issues that I was having. So, of course, everything is based on budget. So, you do with what you have, and you certainly, there are a few laptops out there that won't take 64 gig. Next, the thing that you want to do is right-click on your taskbar, click on Task Manager, and you want to check your memory usage. And you want to do this not only before you run ThinkorSwim, but also after you run ThinkorSwim. So we'll take a look at why that is important here in a minute. So you want to figure out how much RAM your system has, how much memory percentage is being used before you run ThinkorSwim, and how much percentage is being used while you run ThinkorSwim. And the reason for that is that ThinkorSwim in the startup has a special setting that allows you to allocate RAM to it. So from your login screen, down in the left-hand corner, there's a little cogwheel there. And what you want to do is you want to go in there and click it to make sure that you can set up your RAM parameters. So in here, you'll see the memory usage, a usage, and a maximum. And I have it set to these sizes because I have 64 gigs. And usually when I'm running ThinkorSwim, I may be running OBS and other stuff, and it works fine for me. Note about the clear cache and restart there. If you're having issues, you can clear cache, you can restart, but notice that if your login ID is saved, this will also clear it, and you'll have to type it back in. So that's the only thing. But play around with these parameters, both before and after, and see what works best for you. Your mileage may vary. So once you're in ThinkorSwim and you maybe think you're experiencing a little lag or slowdown, one of the things that you can do is click on the Help menu up from the very top, and there's a Collect Garbage button right there. And it will show you the use memory and free memory. I've sometimes let that use memory go to 12 gigs. So you want to press Collect Garbage a couple of times and then go back and see if that helps your trading. This avoids having to exit the application to look for better speeds. So now let's look at general settings that I've set up, and you can access those from the main menu up at the top. Just click on the Setup button there, and we'll get into the general settings. The first tab is the general, and the only one I change is active trader. In here, you want to change your weight limit, and you want to make it a setting that is comfortable for you, and the 3 millisecond is comfortable for me. And what that does is it just limits repetitive mouse clicking so that you don't put in 3 orders when you're only intending to put 1. I have the ladder, the active trader, to refresh every 3 seconds, the auto center every 3 seconds. And I also have the auto send set on down click so that when I click an order on down click, it'll auto send. And of course, I have the auto send set to a check mark in the active trader window. I think the other stuff is defaults. So continuing with the general tab, next we're going to take a look at system. And in system, the only thing I changed was the autosave layout configuration so that when I exit, everything is there. But this is one of the most important settings in ThinkorSwim. the quote speed. You want to make sure that's set to real time, no delay. That way you're getting the latest information. By default, this is not set to that. So if you haven't changed it, you want to go back in and change it now. Next thing I changed was the startup. And I just want my application state to be what I used on last startup. And I always wanted to come up that way. So even though I do save my workspace every once in a while, I just wanted to come back up the way I left the window settings and positions on my screens. And so I have that set. The next one is look and feel. And this is a little bit more, has a little bit more complexity. But in here, you can set a color scheme. And if you've seen my screens, I've changed the screens. I also got a font size that is large, the spacing, and you have the ability to change those color schemes. You also have a high contrast scheme, and you can see a preview there. There are limitations in the way text will get displayed, and you're gonna, when you get in there, you want to make sure you have plenty of time to go back in there and play with these, because you're gonna go set them and go back out. It's not gonna look the way you want it. You're gonna want to go back in, edit it, and you might want to have a piece of paper handy so that you can write down what you did. In the drop down for color scheme, though, there are some default color schemes already built in for you, and you can create new ones based on an existing color scheme, or you can create your own from scratch. But you can always go back and edit these color scheme. Like I said, to me, it felt quite complex trying to get the right colors, and some of the colors are limited. So I finally came up with a scheme that I like, and I've left it at that. I haven't changed it since, but you could always reset it back to the default. The next thing is the display, and the only thing I think I changed here was the decimal places. That might be set to 2, and the show message center. Sometimes the messages that you sold or the messages sent by ThinkorSwim display a little too long, and I wanted it to be no longer than 5 seconds. Calculations and language, those are the defaults. I did not change anything. So the next thing was the order defaults and for stocks. And this is important in the active trader. If you notice, when I trade, my minimum starting quantity is 10. So I've got it set to orders of 10, and I've got the increments also set to 10. That way, every time I hit the plus button or the minus button, it increments by 10 or decreases by 10. The stock MVP rounding is supposed to round off for penny stocks, but I still get 4 or 5 digits no matter what. So I don't know if that's working. The next thing is the hotkeys. ThinkorSwim does have hotkeys, but they are limited. Most folks want to look for hotkeys that sell half, a quarter, etc. They don't exist in ThinkorSwim. The only hotkeys I have enabled is Active Trader and the editor, which is down below. Everything else is turned off. And I've gone in there and customized them for my liking. The buy market, buy ask, bid, and sell market, ask and bid, and cancel. And those are the ones that I use. My keywords, however, I've had issues with them not doing the right thing. When I try to sell, it buys. On another occasion, it went short, which was a problem for me. So what I did was I stopped using them completely. And what I did is I went out and Stream Deck has a device called a Neo, and it's about $80, not that expensive. And what you can do is you can use this device to map those ThinkorSwim keys to it and to these buttons. And then I just have it sitting here beside my keyboard. The only thing you got to do is when you're going to sell or make an execution is make sure that your active trader window is the active window, and then you can just use the buttons to sell. So I have it to sell on the ask, bid, etc. market, and also the buy and cancel all. So that way I can use the buttons and they work pretty seemingly, and it's easy to set up, and it's the best way that I found out to be quicker than having to worry about the ladder. So all I have to do is make sure I've got the quantity set, the active trader window is set, and then I press this button. For an $80, it's pretty cheap. Look at the Stream Deck. Elgato is a manufacturer, and take a look at it. So I hope this video helps some of you guys, and have a continued holiday, and we'll see you online tomorrow.